So I was yelled at for opening a door. I mean, not me, it was actually user, I'm just gonna throw this over on Reddit, that posted this really relevant story. So I was heading into a local business when I noticed in the glass there was a woman behind me. Naturally, I opened the door and stepped to the side for the young woman. Now at that point, she stopped dead in her tracks. And she said she's never gonna let any bigot man help her in any capacity. Now the guy goes on to say he was just confused. He said, I understood, I'm a bit confused. Have a nice day. Now the story goes on because apparently she complained to the store. Security comes up to him and says, hey, we hear that you were being aggressive towards another one of our patrons. I like in the story how the guy actually stood his ground. He said, no, check the cameras. You're going to see the truth. And sure enough, they apparently checked the cameras. They see what happened and they offered him an apology. Now the post itself is really interesting. The guy that lays out the story went into a bit more detail and there were additional comments I think that really backed up that this guy didn't do anything wrong. Opening a door for a woman. Why in the world would such a simple and many people perceive to be kind gesture become so controversial in today's modern age? I mean, seriously, most of you guys watching this video are like, yeah, what's the deal? And how did this even become an issue? Well, that brings me to the point that I do want to start this video with is that I do think it has been blown out of proportion and that it's only a very small percentage of women that have an issue with doors being opened. And it is even smaller percentage of men that have actually ever encountered anything negative. And if I'm wrong about that, guys, let me know. I love to hear from you guys in the comments, but based off of my research, I saw overwhelmingly in the comments, multiple threads on Reddit. I know, not truly scientific. Women were just coming out of the woodwork saying, hey, thank you guys. I appreciate as a woman with young kids having to carry a lot of things. It's nice. I mean, there were tons of women talking about how it was actually a reminder of something a man, an uncle, a father, someone that they cared about that used to do it for them. And they really appreciated that other men were stepping up and opening doors for them. In fact, the only women that were complaining, and they were even pointing out that, hey, this is a small thing, but sometimes guys open the doors and they're actually in the way. I can't get in. Other times I'm pretty far off and they're holding the door open and I feel like I've got to speed up and I've got to run so that I don't leave them holding that door for like 10 seconds. But by far the majority of women that I read in the comments, they were like really thankful that men were looking out for them and helping them whenever they were in need. Now today's video, gents, is brought to you by Factor. If you're looking for help to meet your nutrition goals with the food that you're putting into your body, you need to check out Factor. They've made it easy by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian approved meals right to your doorstep. Now, gents, as you probably know, one of the most important things you can do for your body is watch the food that you're putting into it. You want to make sure it's healthy. You want to make sure it's got the right nutrients. You want to make sure it's meeting your nutritional needs. But here's the deal. So many of you guys are incredibly busy, and that's why I love Factor. Gents, with Factor, you can skip going to the grocery store. In addition, you can save tons of time by skipping the chopping, the prepping the food, and the cleanup of all the dishes afterwards. And no matter what your dietary needs are, they've got you covered. When it comes to choices, they got tons of them. Over 30 plus chef-prepared, dietitian-approved weekly options, in addition to a wide assortment of add-ons. And let's talk about the savings, not only on time, but guys, if you're eating out all the time, this is such a better option to your wallet. Gents, to get the best deal on the web, I'm putting a special link in the description of today's video, but you want to head over to factor75.com or click on the link in the description of today's video and use code RMRS50 to get 50% off your first box. So the first reason why opening doors is becoming less common today is because of changing social norms. And guess what? This has been happening for over 100 years. In fact, in 1962, sociologist Irving Goffman published his seminal work, Behavior in Public Places. What he noted was very important, and that is that individual autonomy is prioritized by modern society and not chivalry, not all the mannerisms that for hundreds of years had pretty much dominated the behavior of men in public. The formal manners were basically dying, and this was also reinforced by Deborah Tannen's book, Talking from 9 to 5. She actually discussed how traditional etiquette was actually unintentionally enforcing power hierarchy. Now, I don't know about all that research, but I do know that traditional etiquette is becoming less common, that the social norms that were once normal are not being passed on, and mannerisms that were once common have become less common. The example we're talking about today, opening doors. Now, what about gender equality? This has definitely had an effect as well during the 1960s and 1970s, also known as second wave feminism. A big part of that was challenging traditional roles and being really clear that anything a man can do, a woman can do as well. Now, this push for equality question a lot of, chivalrous actions, things that were just traditions that men normally would do for women, but they were viewed as, okay, what's the purpose? Is there an underlying reason that they're doing this? Is this holding women back? Many people viewed opening a door as actually patronizing, as viewing a woman as weaker. In fact, the feminist Judith Butler was pretty clear when she said the performance of these customary acts only serves to reinforce outdated gender roles. Now, personally, I think a lot of this was an overreaction, but you can see where you've just got a small percentage of the population that maybe is going to be very vocal whenever they see somebody doing something that they believe, according to their dogma, is holding them back. You can see where they would be very vocal against this. Right? Wrong? My opinion, I think it's overblown. But guys, I want to hear from you down in the comments. Again, have you ever experienced somebody actually pushing back when you open a door or you do something really nice, which you consider to be, just a sign of chivalry, and all of a sudden you're getting some negative pushback? I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments. Now let's talk about misinterpretation, because for a lot of you guys that are well established, you've been doing, what you've been doing for 20, 30 years. Yeah, you're going to continue to do it because this is just simply how you are. But for a lot of the younger guys, you grew up during the Me Too movement. This is now the new norm, and it's confusing. It's not really clear cut. You've got certain people that are saying something, you read something online. And I think for a lot of people, this is where it's tough, is because it's not clear anymore. And this fear isn't unwarranted. There was a paper in 2008 that came out, talked about discrimination in the workplace. It talked about how a lot of well-intentioned behaviors were actually discriminatory, how they actually were holding women back. And so a lot of people read this stuff and they're wondering, am I thinking I'm doing the right thing, but I'm actually, taking power away from women? On top of that, let's talk about the lack of education, the lack of people talking about these topics. I know I see it in the comments all the time. Antonio, you take a topic that you could answer in 15 seconds and you spent 15 minutes on it. One of the reasons I go really deep on these topics and try to bring in history, different viewpoints, is I really want to be able to answer the question once and for all and be able to give you the information so that you can go out there armed to make the right decision in your circumstances. But most of us didn't grow up with parents or maybe with somebody that we could have these discussions with. And that lack of education, again, is fueling just simply our uncertainty as to what actions to take. And this next point is one we can't forget, is that we are living in a society that's getting faster and faster and faster. I think most of us would agree, if you're in a small town, you're probably going to experience a lot of just very nice, friendly people that have the time to open doors, to engage, have small talk conversations. Maybe sometimes you don't want to have it. But if you're in a big city, New York City, you're in Shanghai, you're over in Delhi, people are just all over. They're moving, and get out of the way. Who has time? You open a door for somebody and you're going to have 3 or 4 other people. No one cares that all of a sudden you look like a doorman. So there is something to be said about where you're at, the mannerisms that are local, and simply how fast things are moving nowadays. So I do see why a lot of modern guys are like, man, why even bother? So then what are the rules for the modern man on opening doors? What would I recommend you do? I'd recommend you still do it, but I would say courtesy to all. Open doors for men, open doors for women, open doors for anyone. There's a cat that wants to get in, open the door for the dog. It's like, hey, just be nice. Unless, not to random buildings, because that could cause chaos. But you guys get the point. Just be nice and friendly to people. Next up, you do want to respect individual preference. Maybe it is somebody that, has an issue with it. You've seen them before. Okay, in that case, that grumpy old woman, that grumpy young woman, just simply avoid her. Because the person that they talked about in the beginning of the story, I'm wondering what in the world is going through her mind. And that person was probably crazy. Seriously, when crazy shows itself in a woman, especially if you're dating her, guys, believe her when she reveals who she is. Or if you're friends, and it goes both ways, men and women. Their actions and what they do reveals who they are. Believe them when they show you. Next up, you want to embrace cultural and social cues. Understand where you're at and what's going on. Like I said, if you're in a small town in the United States, a lot of those mannerisms, they still exist. Especially, I know here in Wisconsin, small town, I see it all the time. Not always, but people are pretty darn nice to each other. In a big city, maybe, but look around. You'd be surprised how many nice people there are in the big cities, Chicago, LA, you go down to, Brazil, just amazing people everywhere. Understand where you're at. And by the way, gents, I know we've got people from all over the world. I'd love to hear down in the comments, what is your cultural norm over in Japan, maybe over in India, over in China? What do people follow over in Ukraine? Let me know in the comments below. Do people open doors for each other? And last but not least, communicate. Simply, hey, I'm going to hold this door open for you. You cool with that? If they're not cool, they will let you know, and then you can shut it right in their face. But no, if you have a question about it, simply ask. There's nothing wrong with that. May I open this door for you? You're asking permission. Most likely she's going to say yes. Even if she wouldn't have asked for it, you're kind of already moving in that direction. Yeah, it's kind of maybe a sly way to do it. But again, I have never had anyone get upset with me for opening a door. All right, gents, what video to watch next? How about why did men stop wearing capes? Seriously, what happened? The cape was friggin' awesome. Men stopped wearing them. Why in the world did they do it? Guys, check out this video right here. It's actually a really good one. I really enjoyed putting this together. Yeah.